really the idea that it's controversial for black men to dress like men is kind of weird to me, right? Like why are you 45 dressing like a teenager, man? You got to stop that. But anyway, with that being said, if you move on into this thing with wealth for your kids, I want you to think of the wealth like a car, right? So if I buy a car, then I'm going to let my child use. There's nothing wrong with me driving that car for a few years and then passing it down to them. You know, that's what we did with the we got a car and we gave it to one of our kids, and but it was like 10 years old. You know, we didn't feel like she needed a new car, right? And then now her sister will be driving. She's got the permit, you know, and it's riding with her is like an absolute horror show. But she's now learning how to drive, and she's gonna drive the car after her sister did, and that's how wealth can operate, right? We put 100,000 miles on that damn thing. The her sister done put probably 10, 15,000 on it, and then she's going to get to drive it. And what's happened? What's happened? Pay attention now. What has been going on in this time to make this possible? Well, we've been maintaining the car. We've been taking care of the car. You know, it's not like you don't imagine if we had crashed the car every year and bought a new car every year. Like imagine that. Like imagine if we just one day just decided, we don't like this car no more. I drove it off the bridge. It's in the water now, right? So then they walk in. They ain't got no transportation. And then if I do decide to get them transportation, it's going to be very expensive. So when you get income and you don't turn that income into wealth at all, what you're doing is you're taking the car and you're driving it off a bridge, and then you're waiting until you get enough money to buy a new car. It is very freaking expensive to be black and waste money. It is really expensive to not build generational wealth. It's very expensive not to preserve what you have. It's very expensive to never learn asset protection. People talk about how much it costs to take a class on finances. Well, you should compare that to the cost of being financially ignorant. The cost of ignorance will always exceed the cost of knowledge any day of the week. So you got to make a decision which cost you're going to pay, which investment do you make, right? And so ultimately, when you're talking about going into Christmas, the biggest thing I would say is make investing part of the Christmas goal. And but then the other thing too is I don't want you just investing at Christmas. You don't only pay bills at Christmas. You don't only pay your cell phone at Christmas. You don't just pay your car note at Christmas. You don't just pay your rent at Christmas. You do that year round. So why in the hell are you doing all these other things year round? But it's got to be a special occasion before you do something for yourself or for your family. No. In my life, I like to believe it's a special occasion when I go do something for white folks, like because I don't really hang with them that much. I don't hate them. I just ain't got time for you. I'm sorry, I got too much other stuff I got to do regularly for my people. And then if you're around, like I got a nice neighbor. He's not black. He's a really nice guy, and I'll help him out. I told him, I said, hey man, if you need some support on anything, let me know. But he's not nearly at the top of my priority list. So you got to put yourself at the top of the priority list. Your financial what's more important for a person in this country than financial security, especially in a country that's designed around the exploitation of financial insecurity. They design entire systems around they need you to be broke. You know that I mean pimping been around for a long time, and pimps can't prosper if their little hoes are doing well financially. So capitalism is built on pimping. If you understand pimping, you understand capitalism. And I hate saying it like that, but that's what it is. Every analogy of pimping, the psychological manipulation, the threats of physical harm, the threats of harm if you disobey, misinformation, and basically blocking you from having access to knowledge and information. That all happens. That's a reason why they don't teach you financial literacy in school. There's a reason why they're not training the kids to own businesses and be independent. They need them to get them to go to work every day. Who else gonna do the damn work? It ain't gonna be the Rockefeller family. They're not like we don't want to do the work. The Waltons, they own Walmart. They're not going to work every day. They're like, we need to go get we need about a couple 100,000 hoes that's gonna go into Walmart every day and put on a little uniform and represent our interests. And pimping ain't easy, Lady Emma. I agree with you. Pimping ain't easy. So pimps got to be strategic. The pimps. I ain't a fan of pimping. I think it's kind of. I mean, it's sex trafficking, man. Like we shouldn't be glorifying pimps like Don Juan and all that. But still, pimps are like actually very strategic individuals. They're not stupid people actually. If you ever listen to it, you ever sit and listen to a pimp talk, and they be talking and everything like rhymes, and it flows real nice, and like wow, that's really just misused intelligence. But still, don't get pimped.